Here's a question I want you to sit with for just a second. Right now, at this very moment, how many things are living in your head? The email you keep meaning to send, the project you haven't started, the call you promised someone you'd make, the appointment you have forgot, the thing your boss mentioned that you need to look into. They're all in there, spinning around, taking up space, draining you, even when you're not actively thinking about any of them. And here's what's wild. That is the real reason most people feel overwhelmed. Not the amount of work they have, not the hours in the day. It's all those open loops rattling around inside their head, and no real system to deal with them. David Allen figured out how to fix that, and this is the story of how. The book is called Getting Things Done, or GTD as millions of fans call it. David Allen spent over 20 years coaching some of the most overloaded, overscheduled, high-achieving professionals on the planet. CEOs, executives, people running entire departments, people drowning in 300 emails a day. And what he found, over and over again, wasn't that these people lacked ambition or intelligence. They had plenty of that. What they lacked was a reliable system for getting everything out of their head and into a trusted place outside of it. The big idea of this book is deceptively simple. Your mind is for having ideas, not for holding them. Once you really understand what that means, everything changes. So, let's walk through the whole thing together. What the problem actually is, why the old ways of getting organized don't work, and step by step, what David Allen says to do instead. Why your brain is working against you. Let's start with why you feel stressed in the first place. Most of us were taught, either directly or by assumption, that the way to manage your work is to keep a to-do list, check your calendar, and set some priorities. Maybe write down your biggest goals. Focus on the important stuff. And that's not wrong exactly, it's just wildly incomplete, because it ignores what's actually happening in your head. Here's what David Allen discovered about the human brain. It's incredible at creative thinking, at solving problems, at coming up with ideas, but it's absolutely terrible at storing information reliably and reminding you of the right thing at the right time. Think about it. When do you usually remember you need to buy batteries? When you're trying to use the flashlight in the dark, not when you're walking through the battery aisle in the store. Your brain doesn't remind you of things when you can do something about them. It reminds you at the most inconvenient possible moment. And here's the deeper problem. Every single thing you've told yourself you should do, or need to do, or really ought to handle soon, your brain stores all of those as open loops, like browser tabs you never closed. They're all running in the background, consuming energy, causing a low-grade, constant anxiety. This is what David Allen calls the psychic RAM problem. Your mental memory is like the RAM on a computer. It's short-term storage, not meant to hold everything at once. When it gets overloaded, your whole system slows down. And the tragic thing? You've probably been in this state for so long, you stopped noticing it. It just feels like how life is. David Allen says, it doesn't have to be this way. Why old methods fall short? Now, you might be thinking, okay, I've tried planners, I've tried to-do lists, I've tried apps, nothing really worked. And David Allen would tell you that's because those tools were solving the wrong problem. Daily to-do lists don't work because your day never goes the way you planned it. The moment something urgent lands on your desk, your carefully ranked list becomes irrelevant. Big goal-setting exercises feel inspiring, but don't help you with the 100 small things that are quietly tugging at your attention right now. And prioritizing the important stuff is impossible when you haven't even identified all the stuff in the first place. What we actually need, David Allen says, is something different. A system that works at the level where work actually happens, the specific, physical, real-world actions that move things forward. Not vague intentions, not big visions. Actual next steps. This is the heart of the book. David Allen lays out a 5-stage process for managing all your work and your life. And when you do all 5 stages well, something remarkable happens. Your head clears. You feel in control, not because you've done everything, but because you know everything is being handled. The 5 stages are capture, clarify, organize, review, do. Let's go through each one. Stage 1, capture. The first step sounds almost too simple. You collect everything, absolutely everything that has your attention. Not just your work projects, everything. The broken lamp in the living room, the friend you keep meaning to call, the idea you had in the shower, the overflowing email inbox, the note you wrote on a napkin last Tuesday. All of it. You put all of it into what David Allen calls a collection bucket, some kind of trusted system outside your head. Could be a physical inbox on your desk, a notebook, an app on your phone. The tool doesn't matter. What matters is getting it out of your head. And the reason this matters so much is that as long as something is living in your head as an unprocessed open loop, your brain is spending energy on it. It keeps tapping you on the shoulder. Hey, remember this. You said you were going to handle this. When are you going to handle this? Once it's captured in a trusted system outside your head, your brain can relax. It knows it won't be forgotten. It can stop nagging you. David Allen has a phrase for the goal here: mind like water. Think about a still pond. You throw a pebble in, it responds perfectly to the size of the pebble and then returns to stillness. That's how he wants your mind to operate, responding appropriately to what comes in, then returning to calm. Not overreacting, not underreacting. Most of us are walking around with a mind like a choppy ocean. The goal is to get to still water. Stage 2, clarify. Okay, so you've captured everything into your collection buckets. Now what? Now you have to figure out what each thing actually is and what you're going to do about it. This is where David Allen introduces one of his most powerful tools, the decision tree. For every single item in your inbox, you ask one question: is there an action required? If the answer is no, you either trash it, file it as reference, or put it on a someday maybe list for things you're not doing now but want to remember. If the answer is yes, you need to identify the very next physical action required to move it forward. And here, David Allen gets very specific. Not work on the report, not deal with the Brian situation. Those aren't actions. Those are vague blobs that your brain can't do anything with. A real action sounds like call Brian on Tuesday to discuss the Q3 numbers, or draft the opening paragraph of the report. Specific, physical, visible. Something you could actually do. Here's the other key rule, the 2-minute rule. If the next action takes less than 2 minutes, do it right now. Don't file it, don't track it, just do it. Because the time it takes to write it down, track it, review it, and eventually get back to it will be more than the 2 minutes it takes to just handle it now. This one rule alone, the 2-minute rule, has genuinely changed people's work lives. Stage 3, organize. Okay, so you've decided what everything is and what the next action is. Where does it all go? David Allen has a beautifully clean answer to this. Things that need to happen at a specific time or on a specific day go on your calendar. But, and this is important, only those things. Don't treat your calendar as a dumping ground. It's for hard commitments only. Everything else goes on next actions lists, organized by context. Calls you need to make, emails to write, errands to run, things to do when you're at the computer, things to discuss with your boss. You group actions by where you'll do them, not by project. Why by context? Because when you're at your desk with a phone, you want to look at your calls list, not wade through a giant undifferentiated soup of everything you need to do ever. Then you have a projects list, which is simply a list of any outcome that requires more than one action step. Redoing your resume is a project, planning your sister's birthday dinner is a project, organizing your garage is a project. They don't have to be enormous. They just need a place to live so you never forget you have them. And finally, a waiting for list, a list of everything you're waiting for someone else to deliver. Waiting for your accountant to send the documents, waiting for your supplier to confirm the order. Written down, tracked, so nothing falls through the cracks. That's the system. Not complicated, but it only works if it's complete. Stage 4, review. Here's where most people's systems fall apart. You can collect everything, clarify it perfectly, and organize it beautifully, but if you don't look at it regularly, the whole thing becomes useless. And worse, your brain will stop trusting the system and go back to trying to remember everything itself. David Allen's solution is the weekly review. Once a week, Friday afternoon, Sunday evening, whenever works, you do a thorough sweep. You collect anything you've let pile up. You process any loose notes. You look at every list. You ask yourself, what projects are moving? What's stuck? What's coming up next week that I need to prepare for? The weekly review is what keeps the whole machine running. It's the moment where you catch things before they become crises. It's where you renegotiate your commitments with yourself. Most people say they feel best about their work in the week before a vacation. Do you know why? Because that's when they actually sit down and clean up, close open loops, and get clear on everything. David Allen's argument is simple. Do that every week. And finally, you do the work. At any given moment, you're choosing what to do from a well-organized inventory of options. And David Allen gives you a 4-part filter for making that choice. First, context. What can you actually do right now given where you are and what tools you have? If you're in a coffee shop without your files, certain things just aren't possible. Second, time available. If you have 10 minutes before a meeting, you're looking for 10-minute tasks, not a 3-hour project. Third, energy available. Some tasks require creative, focused brain power. Others are mindless and mechanical. Match the task to how you're actually feeling right now. And fourth, after you've filtered by all of those, priority. What's most important from what's left? This is so much better than traditional to-do lists because it's honest about reality. You're not pretending you can get through 100 things today. You're calmly choosing the best possible use of the time and energy you actually have.
Now, David Allen goes deeper, because this system isn't just about being productive, it's about something more fundamental. The real reason you feel stressed. Think about what happens when you make a promise to a friend and then break it. There's damage to the relationship. Trust erodes. What David Allen realized is the same thing happens when you make a promise to yourself and break it. Every time you tell yourself, I should really handle that, and then don't, you've broken an agreement with yourself, and your brain keeps score. That pile of broken self-agreements is exactly where your stress and anxiety come from. You have 3 options for dealing with them. You can drop the agreement, genuinely decide it's not worth doing and let it go. You can do it, complete it, and close the loop, or you can renegotiate it. Honestly tell yourself, not this week, and consciously defer it. But here's the crucial part. To renegotiate an agreement with yourself, you have to be able to see it. If it's buried in your head, invisible, it just keeps generating guilt and anxiety, whether you're actively thinking about it or not. This is why getting everything out of your head isn't just an organization technique. It's a kind of psychological relief. When you can see all your commitments in one place, you can make conscious, honest decisions about them, and your brain finally gets to rest. The power of the next action. One of David Allen's favorite mantras is asking, what's the next action? He talks about a concept he calls inappropriate engagement with a project, when you're sitting there worrying about a project without actually deciding what the very next physical step is. And he says this is one of the biggest sources of stress and procrastination that exists. Because here's the thing, you cannot do a project, you can only do actions. Launch the new website isn't something you can do on a Tuesday afternoon, but email the developer to schedule a call, you can do that. And once you do it, momentum builds. As soon as you identify the next concrete action, something shifts in your brain. The vague looming dread of a project transforms into a manageable step, and that step is so much easier to take. David Allen estimates that most projects have their next action identified incorrectly or not at all. That's why things feel stuck. Not because they're truly difficult, but because nobody has stopped to define what actually needs to happen next. And the final principle, always know what done looks like. For every project on your list, you should be able to finish this sentence. This project is complete when... Maybe it's the report is delivered to the client, or the garage is clean enough to park the car inside, or the trip is booked and confirmed. When you have a clear picture of the outcome, the specific real-world result you're after, your brain can go to work helping you get there. When the outcome is vague, your brain wanders. It doesn't know what direction to move in. This is what David Allen means by working from the desired future state backward. You start with the end picture and work back to the next action. It sounds simple. It's actually powerful. So, let's bring this all home. If you were going to implement this tomorrow, where do you start? David Allen has a very practical suggestion. Carve out a few hours, ideally a full day if you can, and do the big initial collection. Go through your desk, your email, your drawers, your notebook, your head. Get everything that has your attention. Everything. Don't edit, don't decide yet. Just get it all into one place. Then process each item one by one. For each thing, is there an action? What's the very next physical step? Does it go on the calendar, a next actions list, a projects list, or can I just do it now in under 2 minutes? It will feel overwhelming at first. Most people find significantly more open loops than they expected. But here's what David Allen promises, and what his clients consistently report. Once you've done the full collection and processing, you will feel lighter than you have in years. One woman, a senior executive at a major company, told David Allen after going through the process, that was an amorphous blob of undoability. She meant her old to-do lists. After clearing it all out and organizing it properly, she had clarity for the first time in a long time. That's what this system produces. Clarity, control. Not by doing more, but by knowing more. Knowing exactly what you have, what you're doing, and what you're consciously choosing not to do right now. And then what? You maintain it. You do the weekly review. You capture new things as they come in. You keep your lists current. It's a habit, a new way of operating, and like all habits, it takes some practice to build. But the payoff, a calmer mind, better decisions, less stress, more focus, is worth it. Here's the thing David Allen leaves us with at the end of this book. All of this, the capturing, the clarifying, the organizing, it's not the point in itself. The point is what happens when your head is clear. When you're not spending mental energy tracking open loops, when you trust that nothing important is being forgotten, when you're not secretly stressed about the things you haven't handled, your mind is free. Free to think about bigger things, to be genuinely present in conversations, to have creative ideas you couldn't have when you were overwhelmed. The goal isn't a perfectly organized system. The goal is a life where you feel in control of the things that matter to you, where you can sit with your kids or have dinner with a friend or look out at the ocean and actually be there, not mentally running through your to-do list. David Allen calls it mind like water, that clear, calm, powerful state where you respond appropriately to whatever comes, then return to stillness. Is it possible? He says yes. He's seen it happen for thousands of people. And it starts with one simple question. What's in your head right now that doesn't belong there? Get it out. Get it organized. Trust the system. And then go live your life. Now, if this spoke to you, I want to encourage you to go one step further. Go and buy the actual book. It's called Getting Things Done by David Allen. Everything we covered today only scratches the surface. The book goes so much deeper, with real examples, detailed walkthroughs, and all the nuance that a 20-minute summary simply can't give you. It is genuinely one of those books that can change how you operate day in and day out. Buy it, read it, live it. And hey, if this video helped you in any way, if it gave you even one idea you're going to take into your week, do me a small favor. Hit that like button. It takes 1 second and it helps this channel more than you know. Share this video with someone in your life who's always saying they feel overwhelmed or buried in work. You might just be sending them something that changes things for them. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We break down the world's most powerful books in a way that's simple, human, and actually useful. No fluff, no filler, just the real ideas that matter. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. That means a lot. Now, go get some things done, and I'll see you in the next one.